Welcome to Jam-Packed. I am your host, Jameela, and I have another special guest in studio, a wonderful woman who works with youth, families, organizations to create and discover and grow through her social work that she does. She's got a BA in psychology from Pitzer College, which is my school. Whoop, whoop. And she's also has her master's of social work from USC. My dear friend, who's also a pain in my ass Capricorn, Thea Buford-Levels.
That's what's up. I still love you, pain in your ass.
Listen, she's been driving me crazy since college, and the funny part is I made her be my friend in college.
2002.
I would annoy the hell out of you until you said hello to me. Just randomly wave at you.
Yeah. Crazy ignorant shit you did. And I waved back.
Well, I appreciate you coming out on a school night on Indigenous People Day.
Indigenous People Day.
Because, you know, the only Christopher we acknowledge is every other Christopher other than Columbus. See? Go. I wasn't going to do Christopher Wallace like everybody else. That's what people say. The only Christopher they acknowledge is Christopher Wallace. You've never heard of that?
Hey, it's cool. As long as we ain't talking about Columbus, we good. The fool that bumped into America.
You know, I learned so much about, like, even stuff that was already, like, the myths and things that were broken. I still learned so much about, like, how much of a lie and crook Christopher Columbus really truly was.
I mean, at this point, it's not even just about him being a lie and a crook. It's the folks that record history and the story that they want told.
Yeah, exactly.
There we go.
And speaking of stories being told, I cannot wait to get into some stories with you and pick your brain about some things. You are quite the experienced person with social work, especially.
My passion.
Yes, social work, psychology, all of that, and you've always helped me as far as like to kind of translate things that just don't make sense necessarily to me. But you're like, oh, that means blah, 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 blah. But it's not even on some like Dr. Drew type stuff. It's just like speaking from the heart, but also from the knowledge that you know, and as far as the behavioral patterns and things like that. Let's talk about, okay, so before we get into the crux of this interview, let's go over the first drinking game. And I don't know how successful this drinking game is going to be because your drink of choice that you've chosen is beer.
That's that mommy life. Got to get ready for school drop off.
That's that morning. School night life. I don't know. Yeah, it's that adulting weekday life. And now that you're a mommy,
yes.
we have to do beer.
We have to do beer.
So our drink of choice, because that's what Thea has chosen, is beer. So we will get into our first game. And we've explained what so is. But for those that don't know, or maybe you're tuning in on the very second episode instead of going to the first episode and then the second episode, you know, no judgment. That's all good. Noise fillers. Anytime one of us use a noise filler, we will call one another out with Zora's trusty balls, my dog's toy balls.
Your
so
dog is
anytime we hear this, that means that we're calling one another out on using a noise filler. That could be so, like. Oh, and speaking of my little trusty Chihuahua mixed dog, if you ever hear any tap dancing, some pitter patting, that is Zora and her lovely toenails that need to be clipped walking through the establishment. So sometimes she may make an entrance. There might even be a child making an entrance. And that would be my dear lovely niece, Jameela.
That's what's up, my boo.
Yes, Sagittariuses are running this thing.
She's boss lady, for real.
She is. She is definitely boss lady. Zora, I'm going to need you to sit down. Zora, so without further ado, we have started the game.
All right.
Now, anytime you use a noise filler, you have to at least take a shot of the beer. I know it sounds soft at home, but listen. Thea is low-key a lightweight now from our drinking days in college. Don't make that face. If you want to see the face that she's making, go ahead and check it out on YouTube. YouTube, our channel. I said oh no.
I thought the beer was my drink of choice. What about your drink of choice?
Well, I am being a courteous host, not a hoe, but a host, in choosing and using the same drink that the guest is drinking.
How considerate of you.
I try to be considerate.
All right.
I try to be considerate as possible. But, so, we're talking about...
Getting into the crusp.
Crust.
That's what you said. I'm following your lead. You said, before we get into the crusp of the show.
The crux.
That's what you said.
The crux. So go ahead and check us out on JAMPACKED if you want to see Thea's face that she makes, because trust me, the faces that she makes, especially with the shit that flies out of my mouth, you don't want to miss the judgmental facial expressions that she gives me. Like right now.
Hey, you be dropping a whole bunch of bullshit, so that's what's up. It's all good. It's all love. Let's keep it moving.
Oh, man. So right now, what companies are you working for? And you also have your own practice, don't you?
Yes. So it's the single mama hustle going down. I am currently employed full-time with my health benefits for me and my baby at Oak Grove Treatment Center for Children, where I'm a clinical social worker and supervise mental health professionals, therapists who work with children in the community whom are in foster care. That's one. Two, I also do a lot of different contract work with group homes as they work to, build the services that they have in servicing foster youth. So I guess you could say my passion are my foster youth babies and making sure that they get what they need to be a bit more successful. And then I have my own company called Your Aspirations Consulting, and it does everything from the micro to the macro, micro being life skills coaching, life coaching. I don't do particular therapy just because within the African American community, therapy has a negative connotation. Mm-hmm. So I coined the term, use life coaching to help people get to where they want to go as opposed to therapy, and providing consultation services for folks who want to work with people in the field of mental health.
Okay. Nice. But how do you manage all of that? You've worked with LGBT youth specifically through, what was it, RISE? The RISE program? Was that through the LGBT
Center in Los Angeles? So when my President Obama was in office, he gave funding to the LGBT Center in Los Angeles to work with LGBTQ foster youth, basically so that they wouldn't have to experience the effects of rejection that come from their families and other members within their families in the community. There was research that showed that LGBTQ and what is it?
They've added a Q and an A, and
yes.
but it's all good. We understand it. LGBT.
So we'll
you're covering all of that.
LGBTQ foster youth. Research showed that they were spending longer times in foster care, and were experiencing higher rates of discrimination. So the grant that was given by President Obama was to decrease the rate of discrimination that they were experiencing, which resulted in the longer term that they spend in foster care.
Okay.
Yeah. So was a program manager with that, working to decrease the rejection that they experienced, decrease basically the effects of rejection, which is higher rates of suicidality, higher rates of substance abuse, and something else I can't remember at the moment.
Yeah, it's been a while since you've been over there, but you guys did really great work, and they still do continue to do
it's an
really
amazing
great work.
center. They have a drop-in center for LGBT foster youth who are homeless, or even just youth who are homeless on the street, where they can come in and get the services that they need, all the way from condoms to STD testing to GED preparation. Sometimes they can qualify for getting some meals and an overnight bed. So different stuff is out there for them.
Yeah, that was a really good experience, just being one of the guest speakers years and years ago at the conference. It was like for the sports conference. It was a sports workshop for LGBT.
Yes.
Speaking as an LGBT coach, which was pretty exciting. Yeah, you do a lot of great work, and you definitely help a lot of people. And as a social worker, though, aren't you working around the clock? I mean, where do you even have time really for a social life?
I would. Well, I think in my more direct service days, when I first got into the field after grad school, is when I was working more so around the clock. Mm-hmm. So technically, my schedule right now says available 24/7. Mm-hmm. But at this point, I'm available for the people whom I supervise, who are providing the direct service. Mm-hmm. So I'm no longer doing the direct service per se. My passion now is in building the programs and making sure those are able to be sustained and provide the correct services that folks need.
Right. So, like services that are needed, let's say, for example, the Vegas shooting, mm-hmm. which was a huge devastation and just, it leaves me speechless every time that I try to even make sense of it. And not only because I lost a friend in that Vegas shooting, that was one of the 59, Carrie Barnett. She was one of the 59 that were killed in that at that time. What do people do now to move forward to try to mend and heal that kind of thing?
So I think we live in a society that likes to sweep things under the rug and keep acting like they never happen, or they say get over situations. And you continuously, so if we sweep this issue under the rug, we're going to have a big lump that we're going to continuously be walking over, tripping over. So I think the first thing is to acknowledge that it happened and acknowledge the pain that comes from it, and to be cautious and aware, conscientious and aware of how we even discuss the situation that occurred in Vegas.
Absolutely. And something like trying to make sense of it and trying to figure out what this guy was even thinking. I refuse to give this guy's name airtime, but from your point of view and from the experience and from the education experience that you've been given and the knowledge, what would you say this guy may have been thinking?
So I can't necessarily answer what he may have or may not have been thinking, but what I can speak to is I believe in our world we try to understand things by labeling it. So by trying to make sense of stuff, that's just how the human brain works. So you have people who might state that he's crazy, that he's mentally ill, or that he was very much... I'm going to need you not to move your whole arm like that. Okay, got you.
Sorry, I know this is a very serious topic, but drinking needs to take place.
I got you. That's where we get into trying to label whom he was. I didn't mean to do that. I don't know why. I squeezed a big part of me. We try and label whom he was and try to make sense of the situation. And it's okay to say that we just don't understand why somebody would do something like that. Yeah. We live in a crazy, fucked up world where people do shit that really just makes no sense.
Yeah.
People who don't even have a mental health diagnosis do just crazy things, or things that we don't deem as normal within our society or within our societal standards. So, drink.
Zora, lay down.
And then again, you asked me about, what do we do as a population to move forward? I think we should be careful about how we label him as somebody that might have had mental health.
High self-accountability.
Self-accountability.
Yes.
So I like to think of it as, if this was a rap concert and this went down and it was a black person, African American, however you choose to describe them, who decided to shoot up a crowd, people would label it as, this is black on black crowd. Look at those black people doing what they do.
Exactly.
That's not even a topic of discussion with a man who's white, who murders 59 people and injures however many more.
Yeah.
The first place people go to is that he's mentally ill.
Yeah.
He could be mentally ill, or he could have just made a conscious, fucked up decision to shoot up people.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And they said all of it was completely calculated. And for someone to have that method of patience, that kind of patience, and they even said like he practiced going to Lollapalooza and all of these other festivals just so he can it leaves me with like a very cold, numb, like I feel like I'm not numb, but it's like there's so much that's happened leading up to this point. Not only what he's gone through, like what he's been practicing, but just in the world and all of these other tragedies, massacres that keep taking place. What do we do with these people?
Now, I don't know what we do with these people. As insensitive or as sensitive as it may sound, I'm glad that he's no longer alive. Mm-hmm. It's one less tax dollar that has to go house somebody that might have to live in life. What is it when you live on life? The prison cells or whatnot.
Death row?
Death row. There you go. It's one less tax dollar that has to go take care of somebody in death row. I think I forgot what your question was.
Okay, so let me actually change that question. We were talking about what we label black folks and what we label white folks. How do we move forward from that? How do we say, listen, not all black, I mean, obviously Black Lives Matter and, we're working on that. But when it's, I think I'm just so speechless of how we move forward.
I think you have to just acknowledge that there's evil in the world. What happens is we create a bubble in our lives mentally and emotionally just to move forward in our days every day. If we literally sat and took the time to just consciously bring in all the evil that happens around the world, we'd be all fucked up sitting on the couch somewhere drinking or underneath the table sucking our thumbs.
Yeah.
It's too much information. So the way our brain survives as people is we got to shut that out. But when we do that, when stuff goes down, it's like a slap in the face.
Yeah.
It's like, and we're like, I can't believe this exists. Well, evil exists in the world. That's the world that we live in.
But are there signs that we look for? Are there signs that we look for as far as a record? There's no record. He had no priors. He had no mental illness from what they knew of. How they don't even know how to classify it. They just know that it's technically running in his DNA, that his dad had hella issues and was hella fucked up and was on the FBI list. But are there certain things that we can look for in people and say, okay, maybe there might be something that we need to have a heads up on?
When we're looking at this particular shooter, I think it's important to look at, he made various conscious decisions to do what he wanted to do. He had a plan that when people are experiencing psychosis, it's often in the moment of like they get a voice that tells them to do something. It's not going to be a prolonged planning situation for over years on years. This is a conscious decision that this man made. And there's always going to be red flags in terms of like someone who's isolated or who has aggression or, didn't get along with their peers or whatever. But there are also going to be people who just don't show any signs and then out of nowhere do something that's heinous.
Exactly. Absolutely.
And so I think what you might have to look at is sometimes there just aren't any red flags and shit just goes down.
Yeah, I get it.
Yes.
So on that note, let's get into my song pick, which is Floetry's live version of Sunshine, because with such a gruesome and terrible tragedy that's taken place, I feel like we all need a little bit of sunshine, and Floetry is just pretty fucking amazing. So that was the reason why I chose Floetry's Sunshine. So here you go.
The sunshine always is. I just wanna see my lovely sunshine.
All right, now that was Floetry's live version of Sunshine, one of my favorite songs. Anytime something makes me sad or whatever, Sunshine is usually my go-to jam. I don't know what it is about Floetry, but they're pretty dope. So, Thea. Oh, no, you didn't. I was trying to be slick and you got me.
Friendship goes back from 2002, boo. I'm going to catch you on everything.
And eat my French fries.
That's it. I saw a meme about that. Say, I won't steal from you, but let you leave a room. I'll show enough steal about 3 or 4 fries.
That is real life truth right there. True. That is truth right there. Truth right there. So, Thea, we've spoken a little bit about professional life.
Right.
What about personal life?
What you want to know?
You now have a 3-year-old. She's going to be 4 in December because she's a Sagittarius, and Sagittariuses are amazing.
Just like her auntie Jameela.
Hello. Yeah. So listen, I didn't need that Capricorn shade. That was a lot. That was. What has life been like now that you have a child? Because I know the life you had before.
My college
as your
life.
friend, I know college life, and I know now adulting life. But explain to people your journey of having no kids to having kids, and how life has been, and how it's improved. Because I know that you love being a mother, and just kind of share with us maybe why motherhood is so freaking phenomenal.
If y'all can see the big smile on my face. So I think you asked me before, what is a topic that I would love to talk about? And I think I should have just answered you, being a mom.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love being a mom. I love my journey as a mom. There's nothing about my journey I would change as a mom. I particularly don't care for the term single mom, but that's exactly what I am, and I rock the shit out of that. I love everything about being a mom. Absolutely. It's just everything about it. So I didn't have a child before. I think I've been blessed. All right, okay, I got you with your I was trying to get all sensitive.
You were getting like poetic and stuff.
Right. So I have always been blessed to know that I wanted what I wanted to do. What is that? Why are you squeaking? Oh.
But it's all good.
Okay,
We'll
yeah, let me just get a lead in, though, so I can
that.
get going. Here we go. I'm not taking a sip on that one. I have always been blessed in knowing what I want to do in my life, which is being in the helping profession. So, and I'm going to take it. I'm not taking a drink. I'm going to keep talking.
Wow.
That's how I roll as a Capricorn in your life.
You're breaking all the rules.
It's all good, so let me keep talking so I can at least get past the statement about knowing what I wanted to do in my life and being blessed to know that I always wanted to be in the helping profession. What was your question? Because now I'm off topic. I've always known I wanted to be in the helping profession, but there's a bit more passion and fire behind it because I want to leave my child to grow up in a better world where she doesn't have to worry about working twice as hard because she's a little black girl, or the type of hairstyle that she should wear to an interview because she may get judged about her hair being in her natural fro, which is beautiful and amazing.
Absolutely.
But can be looked at in the corporate America as not being conforming to the world.
Absolutely.
So I want to leave her a better place to live in without so many prejudices and racial injustices. So I go hard for her, go hard for other children so they just have a better place. Okay. I know it sounds cliche, but it is what it is. So being a mom, I'm also, my eyes are way more open. There's much more passion behind what I do.
Absolutely. Yeah, I completely see the difference and feel the difference. And anytime I speak to you or, try to get you to do something that maybe we would have done in college, but maybe some of us have grown up and not everybody has, which would be me that hasn't grown up yet.
You just don't have a child, that's all. And I think what makes a good parent is when you think about your child before you think about yourself. And now that she's about to be 4 years old, I think I'm getting to a place where I can start rethinking about myself in the world as well, as opposed to focusing solely on her, which is what I think I did for the past 4 years.
Right, absolutely. And so, I mean, motherhood is no easy feat. It's no easy thing. How do you balance that with your personal life?
I think sometimes there's not a balance. Sometimes personal life does fall aside because I place such a great weight on being a mom. I look at my baby girl, Jameela. She's not going to be four for forever. She's not going to always need me as intensely as she needs me now. Our relationship is going to continue to change, but I value the time that I get to spend with her now.
Right.
So that comes first. Anything that I can fit in after that is what happens.
Right.
Absolutely.
But as far as a personal life, though, let's talk about that pro and con list that you were telling me of what your realization was. Like, you came to a conclusion because you met someone.
So let's just be frank about it. I think I have met Mr. Right, the one that I want to spend the rest of my life with. I have. We've been talking.
Knock on wood.
For a good.
Send good vibes and
send
good
vibes.
Good
send
woo
good
saws to Thea.
Drink. I said
Do your thing. Drink up, buttercup.
I believe live in different past relationships, and as we should, as we get older, we get to reflect back on different things, learn from our lessons. I want my next tattoo to be live and learn. So I want that to be on my wrist so I can look at it and see about living and learning. And I met a new, amazing, wonderful guy. I made a pro and con list because I'm in the field of social work and psychology, and I'm very visual and I love to write. So I got it write out. My pro list was 20 amazing qualities, and 2 other qualities were on the con side. And the con, and if he ever listens to this, it's just fact. It's no value placement, but it is, he makes less than me, and he's not as educated as I am. And I think I've been born in a world where you're supposed to meet a man who has equal, taking care of you, being able to provide for you, has greater status quo than yourself. Yeah. So that's a battle that I have to fight within myself. Because he has amazing qualities. He's a father as well, which is one of the main reasons why I don't love him. Sorry, that's not what I meant to say. Maybe it was. Oh my God. One of the reasons
True feelings come out.
One of the reasons why I enjoy the man, he has such a strong value system of family.
Right.
And as a mother, I value that. Yeah. And I want the man around my child to value family immensely.
Yeah, absolutely. So is it safe to say that you love?
I don't think I love him now. I think that was just the beer talking.
I mean, what is love? What is love truly? Like, what does love mean? Not only personally to you, but as someone who works in the field of social work and understands psychology.
I think we're getting into the miseducation of Lauryn Hill. I think she had a whole snippet of what is love. Yeah. As I've grown older, I think there's a saying that says love is blind. I disagree. Now that I'm older, I think infatuation is blind. I don't think love is blind, because everything about love is healthy. Yeah. And that's my new perspective on love is a healthy situation. We have this whole horrible saying in society about you got to be a ride or die chick, stick with somebody down. Bullshit. Not happening no more. Done did that. Live and learn. Lesson learned. Not happening. I'm not riding or dying for somebody who does not have my true value. Right. And have my back. So I think love is a conscious decision, and it's in its form, it's pure. It's good. There's no hurt in love. Right. We as individuals hurt each other. Yeah. But I don't think there's hurt and pain in love that people describe it as.
But what at the core of love? What does that mean to you? Like to me, when obviously, you said love. You said love is not hurt and pain. Now, isn't hurt a part of the process of understanding a deeper level of your love, or has that been a common misconception?
I think it's a common misconception, and I think we all have to go through times where we get hurt in life so that we can value when something good comes along. So I look at this man who's in my life now. I honestly can say if I had not been hurt by certain individuals and been through certain things, I would not be able to value who he is, just because of how I understood what I thought a relationship should entail. Yeah. Yeah. So for me, love is seeing the soul of somebody, falling in love with their spirit and the matters of their heart, their character, not necessarily what they have to offer. Yeah. That's the practical side of stuff that we have to figure out, how we're going to combine 2 lives. Yeah. But I want to love you for who you are, your character, and what you bring to the table, and how you see my soul, how my soul sees you, and how we can build each other up. I think that's what love is about too, is building each other up.
Man, I feel like I was at spoken word right now. I was like, I got lost. I got lost in words, like deep ass words. Yes.
And my other point about love is I think we confuse love as somebody or something that should complete us. I'm a much wholer individual, if that's even a word at this point in time in my life.
Holier, more
holistic,
whole, whole-ish.
I feel like I'm more healthy. I don't need another individual to complete me. What this person does is complement me. And that's love to me. Is you add to my life. You're not something that I need to survive. I don't have to fight for this love to continue on. Yeah.
Now, but also, isn't there fighting for this love versus working through this love?
That's different. Fighting for it sounds drastic. It sounds warlike. Love should not be a battle nor a war. But there are things that you're going to have to definitely work through. But at the end of the day, I want to sit back and say, I love you. I love how you value us. We respect one another. And working through stuff is a process of love, I believe.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. That was like Poetry to my eardrums.
That's it.
That
So I
was-
appreciate this man, but if it don't work out, he's amazing.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say fuck him.
No,
fuck
no,
the.
not at all. I
fuck
mean,
the-
hey, you
fuck
know me
the
from
chariot.
college.
Fuck the chariot he rode in on.
Not at
I
all.
thought like if
I'm
it
at
didn't
this-
work out, you're just gonna say fuck him.
So you're at the
Fuck
that's how I rolled in
him.
college. But as of right now, I
Uh-huh.
would say if this did not work out, it is a valuable life experience that I
Yeah.
would not change anything for.
Yeah. That's awesome. Oh, that's awesome. Listen, I have seen Thea evolve in her relationships, different relationships. Would
Right.
you call it?
Different. I mean, there was some
Ooh.
that weren't even a relationship. It just was what it was for the moment.
There have been times where I was about to
Hey.
square up with some folks, but we're not going to go down negative alley.
No, those are all life lessons.
We're not going to go down negative Nancy alley.
Right.
A sharp left.
But you have been my ride or die friend. You've been there.
Man.
You've picked me up on the floor. And that to me is love is not sitting there crying over somebody on the floor, calling a friend to say, can you come give me some food, pick me up? I'm like literally hurting and feeling like I can't live without this person. That was not love. That was unhealthy attachment and codependency is what that was.
And just going back, returning to all of that, to that chaos. What is that something that you just had to grow from eventually to like grow and break free from that, or how?
Well, so we're speaking about Jayla's daddy at this point in time.
Okay, listen, I wasn't gonna say it
That's okay.
exactly
That's
who
who he is.
because I felt like
No,
there
no.
were other people that could have been
There are other
attached to
people.
that question.
It could have been. But
I
he's
wasn't
a
trying to put names
significant
on the
one.
street because I've known you for so
Jayla
long.
daddy. My baby daddy.
Baby Thea.
My baby daddy, who I was with for dang near a decade. That was unhealthy. When you sit back, hindsight's 2020. I can look back at the relationship, and I can make the choice to say he did everything wrong. But I have to stand back and look about how I did stuff wrong, and I have to look at how I entered that relationship. And I looked at him as my knight in shining armor, as somebody that should take care of everything. I put unhealthy expectations on the situation, and I put him up on a pedestal. I idolized that man, and became codependent on him. That was unhealthy.
Right.
And so I lived and learned that situation and will never be going back to something like that.
Right. I mean that's that. I mean that, but it's just so beautiful to see that kind of evolution in the thought process, and for someone who's so cerebral in psychology and social work, that even you too, you are human and you make these decisions and you live with the decisions and you get through them.
Right.
And I don't want to dig too deep in the crates of your relationships, but in other situations that you've been in that may not have been the necessarily of healthiest. I said, no. Thea now wants to take a drink, even though I was the one that said,
Hey, this shit's getting deep. It's getting deep.
Okay. Yes, that was some beer shot. Some other relationships that you've been in, whether they're situations, relationships, and they weren't necessarily that healthy. What was it at that point that you said, you know what, this is not for me, I need to get out?
Unfortunately, at that time in my life, it took for me getting knocked on the head for me to get life lessons. I felt like God was like, hey, this is the person for you. Like he was gently saying like, this is not working out.
Yeah.
But I kept holding on because I felt like I needed somebody else. And it wasn't until I got knocked in the head, literally and figuratively knocked in the head, where I was like, this is not healthy. It's not working for me.
Yeah.
Like, you remember, there was a time I had to call you to come fight somebody, or I went out to dinner with you and your parents with a black eye.
Yeah.
That's not a good situation. And I wouldn't want my daughter to ever grow up in that.
Yeah.
And the relationship I had after Jayla's father, there was some domestic violence. He knocked the shit out of me.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
And
See, I'm glad you didn't tell me about that.
but it was a
because
wrap.
I would have shanked him.
Right, but there was red flags before.
And that's on record. That's on site.
That's on record.
Okay.
You would kill anybody anyways. But we just scratch that.
Just a loyal ass friend like that.
So the guy after Michael, which is Jayla's daddy, the guy after him was so different than Michael. He was very involved, and I also was at a place where I was like, who's going to love a single mother with a young child? So I believe I accepted anything that came along, and it wasn't until he literally put his hands on me where I decided, I can't do that. My daughter can't see me getting hit. That's not what I want for around her. And sometimes, because I am a mother and because of my child, I make better decisions for her than I would for myself.
Yeah.
And that's just the the reality of the situation.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of going into the reality of the situation, and where you're at now is a completely different reality in a different space, mental space, spiritual space. Tell us why you chose Jill Scott's Golden as your song pick of the week.
That song simply states, I'm living my life like it's golden, and I'm taking back my freedom. I'm taking it off the shelf. There's times in our lives I think we give up our freedom bit by bit, and we don't even recognize it, but until we're somewhere sucking our thumb underneath the table or calling a friend, or it takes another friend to realize that, for us. So living my life like it's golden is just literally what it is. I value who I am as a person. I see who I am. I know I have much to offer. I don't need another person to make me feel whole. I don't need to latch on to my idea of what love was at the time from somebody else, and that I am enough to make it through the day. I don't need another person.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to clinch to my freedom. I'm going to clinch to how I love myself and how I love my daughter, and keep the world moving and live each day like it's golden.
Yeah. And here is Jill Scott's Golden, Thea song pick. I'm loving it. Yes. Just like McDonald's. McDonald's, feel free to hit me up if you want to be a sponsor. Okay, here's Jill Scott's Golden.
I'm living my life like it's golden. Living my life like it's golden. Living my life like it's golden.
All right, and that was Jill Scott's Golden. And now we are done with so, and now we are off to the Funnies. Yeah. Okay, apparently I'm the only one excited about this. Ooh! So we have passed around a red cup full of supposedly funny statements. One of us, we will go around in a circle. Just the three of us. Brooke has gotten off the camera. She's joining us.
Still on the camera.
And low-key still on the camera on that handheld. On that handheld.
Get it done.
So on that handheld, so we're going to go around in a circle. We're going to read the statements in each red cup. And whoever laughs in this room will have to take a shot. Of beer. Nothing terribly exciting.
Let's keep it pushing.
Just beer. Because it's a school night. Indigenous People Day. Yeah. Okay, so the guest of honor, Thea, you go first.
Hear that opening up in the mic? Boom, clap, kala, chief rock. Boom, shakalaka, chief rocka. Got it. You made me smile.
Yeah. I took a shot of the beer. Thea took a shot, and Brooke was not amused at all.
I didn't.
Brooke was not terribly amused at all. All right, Brooke, your turn.
My turn. Nicely packed.
All right, she's digging.
Here we go. I got one. How many licks it takes? 100. Wait, how many licks it takes? 142.18 licks to reach the center of the Tootsie Pop. That many?
Oh my gosh! All right,
That's a lot.
We're all taking shots.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a shot for that. 142.
Oh my gosh! Wow, I wasn't
0.18.
even ready. I didn't even let that entire thing finish. All right,
That's too much.
my turn.
Yeah.
Where the pizza at? Brooke, yo, you got to take a shot.
Is that because my baby was asking where the pizza at?
And yes, y'all can meet Jayla May soon on YouTube. She'll be
Okay.
a brief appearance at the end.
Did that.
Go ahead, Thea.
Is that your thumb, or are you just happy to see me?
I'm laughing at my own jokes. I gotta take a shot.
Me too silly.
You ain't got no more shot.
I know. I gotta.
Got no more shot.
I ain't been sucking no dick. You can drink after me. And she still cleans off the
This
top.
week or
This week?
listen, I know you're in
I'm
love
out of
with
the
a
game.
man.
I did not say. I said I like what he does. All right.
What he what he does? It doesn't look like that.
Would you please? My mama is listening. Okay.
Listen, somehow, someday, my parents are gonna be watching and listening to this too. So we're all fucked in this together. So
It's Brooke's
the
turn.
beer just exploded, and now it is Brooke's turn. Glad people keep me on point in life.
It's all right. We got you. Here we go. What I got? See what we got. What we got? Ooh, shit. Who's writing a paragraph? Okay. The dictionary. Okay. The dictionary is the only place where success comes before work. You wrote that, didn't you?
I did. I mean,
We all gotta take a shot.
We all gotta take a shot.
first,
All right, we
so.
all take a shot.
I mean, it wasn't necessarily funny, but you know.
Little slobbery, a little slippery.
I could say some things.
Listen, keep your mouth shut, young lady.
Absolutely.
The beer just kind of exploded in my face, in my mouth. So thank goodness we're not playing the so game. And wait,
That's over.
it's not your turn
It's
to
not your
read.
turn. What you doing?
I'm
Okay.
preparing myself for the.
Sweet Jesus. Sweet Jesus. Wait, you didn't take a shot. You didn't take a shot.
Sure did. She don't.
I don't.
You left.
I don't want to drink after you.
Listen,
School night.
my mouth is hand sanitizer clean. So go ahead.
Your dog mouth is cleaner than your mouth. How about that?
Oh, you got jokes.
Zozo.
Okay, my turn. I'm not sad. I'm sober. Okay. All right. No laughs. Wait. That was like a delayed. Watch the beer. That was like a delayed laugh. I feel like Brooke needs to take a delayed shot of beer.
All right, man. All right.
All right. Go ahead, Thea. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Thea. I'm gonna take my shot.
Whole reparations should be law. What the hell does that
Go
even
ahead,
mean?
Brooke. Go ahead, Brooke. Go ahead, Brooke. Go ahead. Take your.
I don't know, but how do hoes get reparations?
Listen, no.
I'm still waiting for my 40 acres and a mule. That's what reparation I think I should be getting.
All right, go ahead, Brooke. Take your shot.
Already?
Yeah, you
happened to
left.
you?
You left at the Hope
Oh, I took a
reparations.
shot.
Yeah, you left at the Hope reparations. It's some stand-up material that I'm testing.
Oh.
I'm apparently doing stand-up now. It's pretty fantastic. We're gonna have a polyamorous couple soon. You guys have to come for that. That's and not.
Hey, not judgmental, but it's just out of my lane. Why do we
Not
gotta come?
literally, but you do need to come. Like we're gonna have a polyamorous couple on, and I'm trying to get them
I'm
to
sorry,
bring their
what the hell does
significant
polyamorous? I know poly means many.
polyamorous.
And
So
amorous
they're
is.
a married couple and they are polyamorous.
Okay,
gonna
so
be
you're
pretty
using the
fucking
word
fantastic.
and I'm asking for a definition. So
More
poly
than
means
one.
many.
They,
So they
amor.
So what does that mean in Latin language?
That they loving on more than one person.
Okay, so they bring them in. Are they
They're
just
not
swingers?
married, though.
Okay, so they
in
bring them
relationships,
into
or they're hooking up. They're hooking up and relationships. But
Hey,
you have to tune in. You have to tune in to get the full definition of what when the polyamorous couple come on. I'm really excited for them to come on because this is gonna be
This is
some
gonna be hit.
like I have so many questions
That's
and
gonna
I'm
be
really excited about it. So, and I think they might even bring their significant others, or maybe one of them might bring a significant other. They used to be in a triad, but now I digress. I'm going into another lane. But they used to be in a triad, like they used to have like the same girlfriend. So, I mean, they don't have the same girlfriend anymore, but they're in other relationships. And they're also a married couple and they have kids. So I'm very excited to learn about that life, and not that I'm trying to jump into the life, but I'm very fascinated, and they're going to be on an episode to come soon. So I'm very, very excited about that.
Awesome.
So there's a plug.
Interesting.
I'm not saying that's episode 3, but I'm saying they coming.
Coming soon.
Literally.
The poly.
They coming.
Amorous.
They coming.
Google it.
They coming for
If
that
you
A.
don't know, now you know. Okay.
Now, before we close out, this has been an amazing time. I really appreciate you coming. Not literal. Well, I guess you did come here.
Hey, we into a whole different show.
What is wrong with
Listen, this did not turn into a different episode, but I appreciate you coming on a school night. Brooke, I appreciate you coming on a school night. I know you came
Always.
straight from work.
I did.
You came to do this dog and pony show,
Hey.
and this mom and pop show.
Hey,
Um,
it'll pay off.
It will
Sponsors.
one day. Sponsors.
Hey, my name is Thea Buford-Levels. I'm just here to say, if you want to hit me up for a sponsorship as well.
That's right.
Yeah.
Hit up Thea.
Plug.
Yeah, plug. So before we leave, Thea, do you have any words of wisdom, words of encouragement that you could leave these party people with?
The name of my business is Your Aspirations Consulting. This is not a plug, but it's passionate and dear.
Well, you
to-
should plug your company.
Okay,
because
so
it's
it is a
pretty-
plug, Your
yeah,
Aspirations
yeah, do
Consulting.
it.
However, the name came from being able to find out what your aspirations are. Not to get biblical or nothing, but the Bible does say where there is no vision, the people perish. So we all should have visions. We all should be doing vision boards or creating some point of success, of growth. We should never be stagnant. So I think we should try and figure out what our passion is, find our sweet spot in life, and move forward. And also just live in love. Absolutely, just live in love. Seeing the best in the other person and not being quick to judge. And
Like
keep
it.
moving for growth.
I
That's
dig it.
it.
Enjoy your life, love your life, do you, be you, and be the best superhero version of you. And don't be phony. Just be real and just love life. Fuck it.
All of that part. And
Love
on
life.
that, we close.
part.
We out.
And thank you for joining us on Jam Pack. And if you have any questions, concerns, booking, whatever, go to jampacked.com. Sorry, it's the great news is I really don't know my own email address.
Oh, and we're
It's
shutting
way
down.
too many shots of beer. So
Rewind.
it's jampackedshow.com. Don't forget to add the jampackedshow.com. And if you go to Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, go to Jampacked Show. As well as Facebook, it will be Jampacked Show. Don't miss out on the next Jam Packed. See you later.